Okay, so this is for 6th and 7th hour, and 2nd hour is just patiently waiting here while I just go briefly over this. After your quiz today, you should have set up the notes for 9-3 on rotations. Can you draw rotations and draw them in the coordinate plane? And then after that, you should have written your key terms page. If you haven't done that, pause this right now and write that. I'm not leaving time for that. And then when you were done with that, you should have gotten this handout. If you have not gotten this handout yet, get it now. And then you are going to highlight and underline things that are underlined and boxed in this, and then you'll glue that in your notes. You'll notice down here I have some stars written there. That's because those are rules that you might want to write on your half sheet of paper. So if you don't have all of that done, you should pause this right now, and then when you are done with this, you'll move on to this next part. So our next job is to find this handout for our 9-3 notes. So find that handout right now. You should already have a ruler and a protractor. Those are the two things that you're going to need now. And okay, it looks like everybody has that handout now and is ready to go. I'm going to go to the next slide and just go through the directions. We'll actually write a little bit of the directions on this slide as we move forward. Here's the actual slide with directions. It says rotate quadrilateral RSTV 45 degrees counterclockwise about point A. So you're going to write yourself a little note, rotate 45 degrees counterclockwise with center A. Now, we're going to be constructing 45-degree angles, and the first ray for each angle is going to be ray AV, ray AT, ray AS, and ray AR. So we're going to draw all of those rays right away. You might want to use a straight edge that and a dashed line as you go. And I'll be using, some color as I do this. So I'll line this first one up, and actually it kind of appears to be lining up pretty well there. I'm going to use a dashed line, and I'm just going to use my board things. I'm going to make it kind of a thin line, and I will have that arrow on it. And I'm going to make it like this light orange color. And so you're going to draw ray AV. And then with your ruler, and I'm going to be pausing quite a bit so that people can kind of have good time to write these. Then, and if these are dashed, that might be a good idea. Then you're going to draw a T, ray AT, then ray AS. And you want them to be nice and long. I gave you this kind of full sheet of paper. And then ray AR. And draw those nice and long and as dashed lines. If you forgot to do dashed lines, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that's kind of confusing here is there's just going to be so many lines as you go. So if we have 4 points, we're going to have 8 lines here as we go through this. Our next job, after we have all 4 of those lines, and it looks like in this class period, everybody's getting pretty close to being done with that. Our next thing we're going to do is we're going to take each of those. So as we use our protractor, we're just going to slide it from one to the other. I'll use a different color for these other lines just so that you can see them. And we're going to make a 45-degree angle counterclockwise. So from our rays that are there drawn in on the board here as in orange dashed lines, we're going to go 45 degrees that way, and we're going to put a ray there, and then we're just going to slide our protractor and continue doing that. So now take the protractor, and all we're using the protractor for is to measure angles. And if you're confident, you can put all of your points on here and then draw your lines. And if you look at the smartboard a minute, as long as you go from this one to this one to this one to that one, you'll know that you're going kind of out there as you are. We're going to just do this first one because it is going to be a little bit of a mess. And using AV, and on your protractors, A is at the little hole on your protractor is right there at A, and then that 180 zero thing should be coming out right at the end of V. And so if you're careful and do that, my center of my points is not really in the center of my circle, so I'm going to do it like this. And you might even take your green pen right now to do these second lines or something like that. We're counting from here up 45 degrees, so 10, 20, 30, 45. Make just a little mark at 45 degrees. Make a little mark at 45 degrees. We are going to just do this first angle, and then we'll kind of decide from there. I'll use a green pen, and I'm going to use a solid line, but again, a kind of thinner line for this ray as I draw it there. And I'm going to go from A through that line. And that's where V prime is going to end up. So we're going to just do that first one. And now we have that ray, and we're going to measure from A to V. So on mine, A to V is like 5.2. Somebody raise their hand and tell me what you have for AV. What do you have for AV, Elizabeth? 3.1. Give me a head nod if you have something close to 3.1. Whatever you measure that as long as you're consistent, it'll all be good. So then I'm just going to take, for mine, I can just kind of turn my ruler like this, and then you're going to put your ruler along there. I already forgot, mine was like 5.2. And then you're going to make your mark along there, and that point right on that line is V prime. And that's all we're going to do right now. If you have time in the other hours, you can do all of those points. We'll kind of go back and revisit this tomorrow.